Thanks for watching our show with fun topics and random thoughts. Make sure to tune in next time for the new Word of the Week. Thanks for watching. Small Talk is the show where we express ourselves with small randomness. We fill every show with something different. There is no topic too big or too small for us to cover. Our show doesn't have a real path that we follow, and that's what makes it fun to watch. So let's get to the show. Hi guys, welcome to Small Talk. It's 100% a Monday morning. I spilled my coffee this morning all over the floor when I walked into the studio, so it was a great way to start off on Monday, having a bit of frizzy hair. It's a lot. It's been a day, and it's only 10:30 in the morning. So hopefully this today's guest helps things get a little better. I've been trying to get better at promoting my show a little head on, and we're streaming out, right?
Yeah, we're streaming.
Okay. I've been trying to get a little better at promoting the show and guests, and just in general scheduling guests, I scheduled today's guest last Monday, so I've been trying to get better at it. So that way the show gets a little more views, a little more buzz. So if you've been paying attention to my postings, we're jumping back in time a little bit. Heard that there was an arcade around. Did not know that arcades were still around. So I found it pretty cool, and they're local. They're in Broward, in Margate. I've heard a lot of cool things they do. They're very up and up on social media, which is great. And they do a lot of events, and they have retro games and new games, and it just sounds like a whole lot of fun. So a fellow producer of mine, Vinny, was telling me about this place, which is how I found them. And he'll be joining us later. You'll hear him. You won't see him because we're still down to one camera in here. So that should be fun. But if you ever love Pac-Man, or I don't know, what else do they have there?
Super Smash Brothers.
Super Smash Brothers. I was going to say Super
Dance
Mario,
Evolution.
but I wasn't sure if that's, still around. But, you might as well unmute Vinny because...
Yeah,
okay, so Vinny, tell me a little bit about what's there, because Vinny has been there. Before we bring Eddie on, who is, I think, one of the owners of the place, Vinny's been there recently. What do they have there? What do they do?
People, you want to enjoy arcade games like Dance Evolution, old-style games, console games, and the classic Power Stone, Star Wars, all the things you love.
That sounds like a blast.
It
Things
is
I
a
haven't
blast.
even heard of in
Also,
a very long time.
they have Gundams there also. You can build and stuff.
Build?
Yeah, you can make model robots. Gundam robots.
So, did you ever watch Big Hero 6?
Yes.
So, you know how they build robots and have robot fights? That's
Yeah.
what they do?
Pretty much, yeah, like that.
That sounds awesome, guys. Awesome. So, I think with all this cool information, we need to bring Eddie on so he can tell us a little bit more about what they have, what goes on. And there he is. Hi, Eddie.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I can't complain.
So we heard a little bit from Vinny about all the cool games and things that you guys have going on there. The arcade, by the way, is named Flynn's Arcade and More.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about Flynn's.
So Flynn's was named after, well, let's see. Do you know what Flynn's were, what I'm referencing when I say the name?
No, not at
I
all.
want to say Treasure Planet.
All right, no. Tron.
Tron, okay.
Oh, Flynn's Arcade. Now I got it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So Flynn's was, named after the movie Tron, or the arcade in the name Tron, Kevin Flynn's arcade. So then we were what's it called? Established back in December of 2019, and we started on the 7th of December. And my buddy and we started building Flynn's in June of 2019, and then the vision really started December 2018 when we were renovating one of my houses. I was like, man, you know what? I think it's the time to do something like this. I think the general public wants this. I think it's doable. And we had done previous events called Retrocades.
Okay.
And Retrocades are like pop-up events where we would bring in a few arcade machines. We would do video game consoles, some tournaments, and we would do them around town. You know, we did it at my buddy's tattoo shop, a print shop, a coffee shop, and we would get, you know, crowds of, you know, 150 to 200 people. And I'm like, yeah, I think it's really time that people want this. And so we started the journey and building the business plan and the personas and the financials and picking the site and then doing the demo and permits and acquiring the machines and then social media stuff and
Right.
you know, it goes on and on and on.
So you guys are a fairly new business then. Only like 3 years old, it sounds like, right?
Well, yeah, like the Flynn's was established in December 2007 or 2019 on the 7th. So like on the books, we were established in December, like opened. Corporately, we were established in February of 2019 because, you know, you got to like register a business and Sunbiz and all that good stuff.
Right.
And then we had kind of toyed with the idea, you know, like a couple years before, you know, here and there. But I've owned other companies, or I own other companies, so I kind of knew that this is going to be a slow race. It's not it's not a sprint; it's a marathon.
Right.
So.
Well, that's awesome. So what made you guys, well, first of all, tell people where you're located.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Well, we are located in Margate, Florida. I actually, my wife and I actually live in Margate, and we're located off of Margate Boulevard and 441. It's just a little bit north of Atlantic Boulevard and 441, and just south of Copans and 441.
And what made you guys pick that location? Because I know that's an up-and-coming location, like business kind of form and disintegrate there, but it's still an upcoming place. What made you guys pick that location specifically?
Well, like in the business world, when you begin to plot a location for your business, there's things you have to take into consideration. You have to take into consideration your personas, which every business should develop, which means like who exactly are you catering to? Because you can't be everything for everybody. You have to be very specific.
Right.
So once you decide on the persona and the demographics of your particular clientele, you can then begin to kind of mold it to what areas will work for you. So in our logic, we started looking at sites in February, and then we decided on this site in May and executed the lease in June, I believe it was, or July. And the thing we are looking for, having done things like this before, you need to have plenty of parking, good street exposure, as low as rent as possible, because you got to keep your overhead as low as possible when you start a new business, because that's usually the thing that will come and bite you in the butt. And then you also have to look at zoning requirements and insurance, liability, and then all these other technical aspects of it. And so pretty much you just have a checklist and you just check off what sites meet that. And then once you find the place that it meets, then you just execute.
So what type of games, arcade, retro games and all, what kind of games do you guys have there?
So we have everything and anything. So we have the latest consoles like Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox. We also have some of the retro consoles as well, like Dreamcast, N64, GameCube, the Wii, Super Nintendo, NES, or Nintendo Entertainment System. And then we also have, as you can see behind me, what we call upright cabinets or arcade cabinets. So right now our count is just under 50 arcade cabinets. And a lot of our machines run what they call Pandoras or 16-1s created by Nintendo, or not Nintendo, excuse me, Namco. And so there's like thousands and hundreds of games inside of them. So sitting in my arcade right now, I have probably over, playable games on different systems, about 80,000.
That's a lot.
Yeah, because there's a lot of menus and intricacy, and we try to coach people on, hey,
Right.
this is, you can access this menu and this is what you do. So we have that in terms of the gaming.
That's awesome. So are you guys open all day, or do you have specific hours for specific events?
Yeah, so you could go to Google Maps and type in Flynn's Arcade or Flynn's Arcade and More, and we are closed on Mondays.
Okay.
That allows us to make modifications, do a deep clean. We do a deep clean every day. We've done this before even all the COVID stuff, so this is nothing new. So
okay.
we do that. Yeah, we do that, and then we also repair machines, and then we open from Tuesday to Sunday. And then on Tuesday through Friday, we open at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Saturdays, we open at 1 o'clock. And Sundays, we open at noon. And then Tuesday through Thursday, we're open till midnight. Friday, we're open till 2 a.m. Saturday till 2 a.m. And then Sunday until 12 o'clock as well.
So I guess
So that's how it works.
Your demographics are really trying to target everyone. Families, young kids, young adults, people that want to kind of like burn the midnight oil, I guess they say, and just have a blast.
Yeah, the personas are usually there are three categories with our personas. We have, the more nostalgic, who was born and a teenager during this time,
Right.
They want to introduce this to their children. We have also more of the early to mid 20s who want to kind of embrace this nostalgia and experience it themselves. And then we also have, once again, that younger teenager that may come with their family that plays more of the Switch or the PS4, but they're looking for a community to belong to.
I think it's awesome. You guys cater to everything, the retro games, the new games, the Switch, and all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any sort of tournaments or anything like that?
We run 3 tournaments a week, actually 4 tournaments a week. We run Yu-Gi-Oh! Tournaments, which is a tabletop game, a card game on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. We run 3 tournaments a weekend, so we run one on Friday at 7. Our Smash Ultimate tournament, our weekly Smash Ultimate tournament is on Saturday at 7, so that's every single week. And on Sunday, our tournament's at 5 o'clock. And then our tournaments on Friday and Sunday switch. So this last week, we had Tekken 7 for PlayStation 4 on Friday. And then Dragon Ball Z Fighters on Sunday.
You guys do a lot. That's amazing.
You have to.
Yeah, you do. That's true. So you have to do a lot to stand out, right?
Mm-hmm.
What, just the sheer fact that you guys are an arcade and you do so much, what makes you guys stand out from, say, another arcade that were to open down the street?
Well, that's another thing that goes into the business practice, because you have to begin to analyze what we call the barrier of entry. So what would it take for someone to open up a competing arcade or another arcade? I know how much these machines cost and how hard they are to find. So that right there would limit a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, the sheer fact that there probably aren't a lot of these games around anymore, right? I'm sure it was hard to find all these, especially the retro ones behind you.
Well, to answer your first question, if someone were to open a competing arcade, I don't look at it so much as competition as I look at it as our community is growing. Mm-hmm. And maybe they could bring something new to the table. Unfortunately, 2 of our family members, if you will, in the community have recently closed because of COVID stuff. That was Versus in Pompano are no longer there, and East Coast Gaming down in the Hollywood Davie area is gone also, I believe. And and they concentrated more on PC gaming, computer gaming. They did have some arcade games and console games at one point in time. So what sets us apart really is I try my best to, number one, I don't know what anyone else does but myself. So I always ask myself, what do our Flynn's family, that's what we call our community, wants? And then I try to cater to that as best as I possibly can. And also, I just don't stop. I just keep grinding forward like a juggernaut.
Yeah. It sounds like you guys don't ever.
Another wall, Yeah. You can't, what's the cliche? Well, yeah, what's the cliche? A rolling stone gathers no moss.
That's awesome.
So that's what it is. Yeah.
What do you guys charge to come and play games? Do you still take quarters in the games, or how does someone come and play?
Okay, well, it's super duper simple. All our games are set to free play, which means that you press the start button or a button that's on there, and the game will automatically boot up. So that's called it's a free play model. And you have two options here at Flynn's. It's $15 unlimited. Play as much as you want, come and go as you please for the entire day. That's $15 per person.
Wow.
Or $10 per hour. And kids 5 and under are free. And then we do events scattered throughout the month. So like last month this month actually, we did our cosplay event. And if you come in cosplay, it's $10 unlimited play. Or like on Tuesdays in honor of Grand Prix Racerama, which was my childhood arcade in Dania Beach, we do $10 Tuesdays every Tuesday in honor of them. And that's how we do it. So it's super simple.
Sounds like a whole lot of fun.
Yes.
So going back to the tournaments, how does someone sign up for them, or do they just show up?
Just show up.
Just show up? Easy enough,
Yeah,
right?
it's in our industry. It's called register at the door. And then that's pretty much it. It's when you make things too complicated in life and in business, people don't do it.
Yeah.
So why make your life more difficult?
You would like to think that most business owners would have that same approach, but the more complicated, I guess more fun.
Well, the thing is, complication sometimes is interpreted as more like, I don't know, more business centric or more fancy, all that kind of crap. And like, I go the opposite direction. You got to keep it simple.
I like that motto. So
you can keep it.
what made you guys want to open an arcade?
So having grown up in arcades, it goes all the way back to when I was a little kid, probably 8 or 9, and my mom would take me to the laundromat where we would do laundry on Sundays because I lived in an apartment in Miami and we didn't have a washer and dryer. Mm-hmm. So every Sunday after church stuff, we would go to the laundromat, and I still remember, they had a Mortal Kombat 1 machine and they had a Galaga machine. And would sometimes be able to finagle a couple quarters out of my mom. And I would go over there and I would play these games. And, Galaga is one of the games that it's kind of my game, mm-hmm. like in terms of what I play. And I was never good at Mortal Kombat. I could never get the fatalities down. So, I kind of mess around. So it started there. And then, of course, my grandma had the Nintendo Entertainment System. I had a Game Boy. I had, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2. I did some PC gaming with Counter-Strike and Day of Defeat mm-hmm. and Call of Duty and stuff like that. And then what happened was in high school, Grand Prix Racerama was around, Boomers was around. It was later Trains and Boomers. There was Flippers off of Taft Street. Flippers is still there. And then, I kind of embraced that. So I did some like online gaming like Runestone, which is like a MMORPG, like one of the first ones. And then after that, I was always also involved in the comic book and action figure world as well, because I used to do conventions in Miccosukee with my buddy Orlando, who still does them in Miccosukee. Mm-hmm. And then, as I got older, I kind of became, I wasn't as involved in arcade gaming or video gaming as much as I would like to have been. But now I'm obviously own and run an arcade with my good friend Will. So I don't play as many video games as you would think. A lot of people talk to me about really, really new games. My focus is more of what can I do for my community, my Flynn's family. And I kind of sacrifice my own joy, if you will, of playing games to keep things pushing forward. And the joy comes from seeing the smiles on the faces and seeing everybody have a great time, because in this world we need as much happiness and joy as possible. So that's what we try to bring to them.
I love that idea, and this actually just popped up. When you say video, like, oh, I'm going to go play video games, nowadays, half the time it means something on the computer or Xbox.
Right.
But obviously back then, it was...
In the 80s.
In the 80s, it was a game, it was going to an arcade like you have now. And mm-hmm. I love that the concept of playing video games can kind of lean away from the computer and Xbox stuff and kind of go back to the Super Mario and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's what I encourage whenever. Well, you guys, some of you have been to us, so we have a lot of 4-player cabinets and a lot of 2-player cabinets. I do have some 1-player cabinets, and some 1-player games, but we really encourage collaborative play because in our society we have become very introverted, from my observation. And the thing is, human beings are social creatures.
Right.
And we need to be around other people, and we want to do that. And the thing that kind of stinks now is, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 35. So I graduated in 2003. So it was right on the cusp between, like, the internet was just coming out,
Yeah.
but we really didn't have it. So we still hung out at malls and Boomers and Grand Prix and Barnes and Noble and coffee shops, and went to each other's houses and had sleepovers. You know, we had all this stuff. Now it's like totally different, you know?
Yeah,
like we're all looking down on our phones. We're introverted.
So I am in my mid-20s, but
Okay.
yeah, so not too far off, but like the nostalgia in that sort of sense, I do remember going to my friends all the time and like having
Okay.
sleepovers, and wasn't too much with the video games though. I was never really big into that. I had cousins
Yeah.
that had the GameCube and the Xbox and the PSP, and they had
Right.
everything. So, but I
Right.
always felt like I was not coordinated enough to do much of that.
Neither am I. That's why I play like the arcade games. You don't need a lot of coordination. for that.
Right. And like no one was ever into the arcade games. Everyone was into like the Xbox and all that. And I was like, I'm not coordinated for this. But I do want to let Vinny chime in because he has been there. And
Okay.
Hello.
tell us what
Hello.
it's like been there.
Oh, it was fun. Bring back up some nostalgia feeling of hanging out with people and playing games. Like my first time I went there, a friend introduced me to your place with a bunch of other Starbucks workers I used to work with. It was
All right.
we played Smash, Guitar Hero, old arcade game. It was a blast.
Blast from the past, right?
Yeah, I remember talking to Eddie about like I never brought my camera back there to take some photos of everyone.
Yep.
And then he's like, hey, it would be cool. Like we talked about it would be cool if I take a picture of his of the cosplay event we did. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, it was not this last Saturday, but the Saturday before that.
Yeah, as I thought. I was surprised how big turnout it was. Like a lot of people went there, even though it was like raining crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So with today's times, the whole COVID thing, has it put much of a damper on plans, or have you guys just been full steam ahead?
You know, with any business, it's going to be dampered because when you have something of this magnitude affect you, it's gonna hurt it's gonna hit everybody.
Right.
So, like I told you before, you have to keep your overhead, which means your overall expenses, as low as possible. So I kind of did that because I know usually with startups and all the other startups that I have, it takes between 2 to 5 years to really get a footing, and you have to kind of be ready to ride the storm.
Right.
And not pay yourself for a long time. So with COVID coming around, I knew that it was necessary to talk to my community, my Flint family about it. And by the grace of God and their awesomeness, they donated upwards of about $4,000.
Wow.
And that was enough in addition to what I had set aside, or what we had set aside, to keep us going for those 2.5 months that we were closed. But during that time, we still kept extremely active on social media, doing live streaming, giveaways, virtual stuff. We still had Gundam. We did online tournaments. We had online Dungeons and Dragons. We did as much as we possibly could, because I looked at it like this. Having been, like, my master's degree is actually in military history. So like I've taught history on different collegiate levels and things like that.
Right.
So and school levels. So I look at it like a war. And in a war, you have two options. You can either A, retreat and back off, or you can charge full steam ahead and say to heck with it. I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And I figured there probably aren't a lot of other companies that are going to do that and keep pushing forward. And I just said, forget this. We're going to put our head down and keep pushing forward, because when all this comes back around, meaning it all settles down as we're seeing now, we're going to be there waving the Flint's flag, So
Well,
we're like,
sounds
we're
awesome.
over here, And that's how everybody should really be,
Yeah, you would think, but unfortunately things happen and people freeze and they don't know how to pick up from where they've been, and like a lot of other businesses, they had to shut down for a period of time. And
Right.
you guys used other resources that you had, like online, to keep going.
Yeah, and our like I said, our Flynn's community, our Flynn's family, are the absolute best family in the world, and they carried us through it. And that's, it's not, when you run a business, it's not about yourself. The
Right.
first thing you have to remove is yourself. I don't buy the snacks that I like. I buy the snacks that my people like. I don't buy the beer and wine that I like. I buy the beer and wine that people like. I don't buy the games that I like. I buy the games that they want, because it's not about me. It's about them in the end.
Right. That sounds awesome. Well, Vinny, I guess we'll have to go join there. Well, you'll have a whole group of us coming
Yeah.
down soon.
Yeah, you
I want
guys.
to ask you, I wanna ask you one thing.
Yes.
What is the hardest game? What is the hardest arcade cabinet you had to find?
That is
The
a good
hardest
question.
one? To answer your question, okay, so some arcade history. Because of the mere fact that we're in South Florida, right?
Yep.
There weren't too many super large arcades down here back in the day. We had Bigfoots and we had a couple other ones that were fairly large, but those machines have pretty much gone the way of the dinosaur. So in order to find cabinets in Southeast Florida, you really have to start digging. If we were up in the Northeast, like, the New York, Pennsylvania, or even the Midwest, where they had these monster arcades and everybody had an arcade machine, it was a lot easier. So I would say the most difficult one I have found, the most difficult one to find as I look around, well, I would say Power Stone is a very difficult one to find because a lot of people don't know it was an upright cabinet because it was a Dreamcast, or it is a Dreamcast game. I would also say my Star Wars upright cabinet is a little bit on the rarer side. I have some
Really?
pretty heavy hitters like Mortal Kombat 3 and 4, especially Mortal Kombat 3 Ultimate is a little hard to find. With arcade cabinets, it's about having an original board. There are three components in an arcade machine. There are the power supply, the board, and the monitor. Those are usually the three components, right? If you have the originals for all three, that's kind of a rarity. A lot of people are converting monitors. I'm working on a project right now where I'm converting a machine to LCD because I kind of want it to do LCD now. And so like over here, I'll show you. You see that machine right there? That's Smash TV, and its sister next to it is Total Carnage. Well, the Total Carnage is not the original cabinet. It's actually, I think, an MK1 cabinet, Mortal Kombat 1 cabinet.
Oh.
Smash TV, though, has been fully restored. So the Smash TV is a very hard game to find. It's running the original board, monitor, and power supply. But then if you see, where is it? Let me point. This one right there.
Yeah.
That one right there is called Re-Rave. And Re-Rave was produced by a company that produced Stepmania. And that machine is no longer in production. That stopped production, I think, in 2014, 2012.
Yeah, try that game. It was pretty
So-
fun. The
It's
rhythm-based
different.
game.
It's a rhythm-based game. You use your hands. It's a
Yeah.
little different. But we actually picked that up in an auction for like a ridiculously low price. We just had to rebuild it from scratch, So that's
crazy.
probably our
Things you find.
kind of begin to the things you find. Hey, anybody watching this, if you run into any arcade machines, any condition, hit us up. We'll buy pretty much anything,
I've got one last question before we go. What is your
Yes.
favorite game in your arcade?
My favorite game, like I said, is probably Galaga.
Nice.
Galaga, it was a game released by Namco, I believe. It's a very simple shooter, but it's a pattern-based game.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'll show you. I think I can show you. So that is the ship for Galaga. And so that really
Okay, I do
nostalgic
know
'cause
that game
My
then.
dad and I. Okay, there you go. My dad and
so-
I would play that.
I'm not good with names, but like I saw the picture of the little ship. I know that game.
Yeah, some people call it, like, I've heard it pronounced like Galaga or Galaga. It's weird. I've heard people pronounce it differently from different states and stuff. But my dad and I would play this game all the time, and he would kick my butt. So whenever somebody puts a new high score on my machines for that game, I make it my vendetta to like, I'm going to get the high score on this machine. So, and then I always treat it like the little monsters are like killing my family, and I have my little ship, and if I don't kill them all, then my family dies, and it like makes me more impassioned about it, you know. And I probably, you know, now that I think about it, I probably have 7 cabinets in here that actually have that game on it.
That's
You know.
hilarious.
Yes.
Well, it sounds awesome. I've got another producer with one last question, then we
yeah,
can go.
I got one question because you know.
Okay, go for it.
Besides the arcade, you know, there's
Yes.
2 big consoles coming out this
PS5
this
and
holiday
Xbox.
season. What console will you be aiming for to get this holiday season?
Well, you know, that's an interesting thing. I am more on the side of PlayStation than Xbox, just because of the games released for it. They don't make one better than the other. That's just a personal preference.
Boom.
But we will have both. Maybe not initially. My kind of idea is, you guys know that PlayStation, Xbox are going to use this first round to beta test.
Yeah, no,
You guys know
true.
that.
Yeah.
They're going to work out all the kinks. So I'm going to let everybody buy them. PlayStation and Xbox take back the criticism and release like, oh, by the way, we're releasing this new version.
They always do that. That's why I'm waiting next year to get
exactly.
them.
You know, that's why like the PS5 and the Xbox. I mean, hey, if you get one, awesome. I know that pre-sales have gone off, which is great. PlayStation had some issues with some releases or release dates. Xbox, the same thing. And we will be having them here, maybe not at first, but eventually. I'm interested to see how Xbox kind of takes it up, especially with, I forget what they call it, guys, where it's like that collection of games that you can like automatically play. You know what I'm talking about? Like they're releasing like a bunch of games on like a catalog that's going to be a virtual download or a virtual accessible
Xbox
library.
Game Pass?
No,
Yeah,
I
like the
didn't
Game
know
Pass.
that that's what they were doing.
Yeah, Xbox doing that. Sony did that, but Xbox been doing their way cheaper, so more people could get onto it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting model to employ. I've been curious how they're going to strategize that, but think about it, guys. Games are now going to be like, what, $70, $80, and controllers have gone up to like $70 a piece.
Yeah.
Oh.
Correct.
So, hey, come on down to Flynn's.
I will.
We buy the
We-
games, you just play them.
I will.
100%. I'm telling you, you're gonna get like a group of us down there soon.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Flynn, your photos are uploaded today. Most of them now.
Oh, awesome. Thank
Vinny
you.
upload most of your photos. Thanks for joining
Cool.
us. Can't wait to come by and play some nostalgia games.
Cool.
Guys, go check out Flynn's Arcade and More in Margate. They have amazing prices, amazing games. If you want to feel some nostalgia, definitely go check them out. I mean, if you're in the Boca Palm Beach area, they're like a 20-minute drive, 25-minute drive. It is nothing. And for an all night of fun, hey, why not? Sounds like you get some good food, some good drinks. Why not? Check us out next time, guys. I don't know what we're doing next week. We'll find out. Till then, think big, stay small. Thanks for watching our show with fun topics and random thoughts. Make sure to tune in next time for the new word of the week, along with new and exciting randomness. Till then, stay small, think big.